That was really annoying. And I did it myself.
We're still at the office for those of you that thought we were moving. We did not move. We're still here. Good morning. I saw a lot of people in the chat. I saw already some questions. I know I say this every time, but I mean it this time. We are getting off in an hour because an hour is going to be 11:30 and it's going to be about lunchtime, and we need to be off for lunch and have a lot of wholesale stuff to talk about and to do. So we have a cutoff, so if you have questions, make sure that you drop them in there down below. I know we haven't been on in a few weeks, so I feel like there's going to be a lot. I already see some people earlier that were like, oh my gosh, it's been so long. It has been a couple of weeks. We are back. Good morning, everybody. Lots of great states out there that I want to visit and thrift at. So it's been a while. What's new? Honestly, we do have a big new thing, but we're going to announce that in a different video. But other than that, we are just chugging along here. We did increase our active listings per day to 45 items from 40. So we increased 5 a day, and that just started this week, like actually being set active from where we schedule them out multiple weeks in advance. Nikki and I have some vacations coming up, some work, some leisure, and we'll be off and on gone, so we're not going to get to see each other for probably a couple of weeks, but we will return hopefully refreshed and come back really with a new perspective.
I'm very excited.
All right, good morning. I'm already seeing some questions, so I think we're just going to jump right in unless you thought of something new.
No, but I do want to say something.
What?
I just love that you guys are now all using the heart emojis. I just saw one pop up, and I can't tell you. I feel like I've like created my own brand of just
you have
all the time, and I really have enjoyed it. So thanks for dropping those, because every time I see them on like the YouTube comments or Instagram posts or anything like comments, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes me happy. So
good. We got some mods in here. I did actually think of something new that we were doing. I don't know if you guys watch the podcast, but we've been doing the podcast about every other week. We actually need to film one this week. But we discussed it in that podcast, but I know everyone does not watch the podcast yet. They all will at some point. Someone said your hair's getting long again. We just talked about that this morning.
Look. It's getting long. It's like to my waist.
So we talked about it in the podcast. Go back and watch that if you haven't already. By the way, we're on Spotify now, as well as a few other places, but
I hate Spotify. I wish I could just light it on fire and burn it to the ground.
I listen to it every day.
It doesn't work.
You're doing it wrong.
No, Travis set it up and it does not work.
No.
It like, I don't know, we got one of those like husband and wife spouse accounts where you can have like 2 people on it and you pay a little bit more and you can like each watch your own thing. Every time I turned mine on, it'd play on his phone. And every time he turned on, it'd play on my phone. Ask Jordan, she was in my car one day, and what was he playing? My lip gloss is popping. My lip gloss is cool. And I was like, this is not the crap I listen to.
I have had that happen, but I also don't pay for that plan. It's like just me, but people log in.
Sucks.
It doesn't work. I'm sorry. I do like Spotify, but
anyway, sorry. We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify now. If you guys prefer to just listen instead of watching on YouTube, but other than that, mention on that, something new we are doing is, since we have a lot of inventory right now, we're trying to focus on higher quality items, trying to take this time while we have a little bit of buffer to focus on some higher ASP stuff. And so that's actually been going really well, and I found that since I have been focusing on higher valued items, that's what I'm finding, and it's the dumbest and weirdest thing at the same time, because it's like it makes me feel like those items have always been there, and just because I wasn't focusing on them, I wasn't finding them. That's how I feel right now, but it's been really good. What you guys...
Can you just leave that like over here? Because I don't want to get the batches confused. Can we show this right now?
I don't want to show the address, but I could show
just show that way first.
Okay.
This is what I'm dealing with, guys. This is what I'm dealing with. Okay. Oh, careful. Don't trip yourself. Okay. So this was what came in last week. Last week.
There's one bag over there I'm processing.
And then Marley just came in with this crap. Crazy
Ooh, that
crap.
one's split.
Yes.
Lots of wholesale. There's probably...
Marley, I think that's been the least unhappy I've ever been to see you. My day just got more eventful. I mean, it's honestly great. Like, I'm not trying to complain. It is awesome because she just went to the post office and then came back with probably 200 items. But I still had 200 items from last week I didn't get to, plus 3 closet reviews and another wholesale call. We're gonna be busy.
Yeah, Nikki's been pioneering we honestly, up until recently, hadn't had much experience with wholesale or buying stuff from other resellers, and since the beginning of this year, it's just increase, and we're trying to figure out kind of systems around that. I mean, we just created a spreadsheet because of how many inquiries that we're getting to try and keep each other on the same page, but Nikki's been the one handling a lot of that, so she's basically been doing Zoom calls off and on with a ton of resellers or people. I've had a lot of people offer to source for us. We're kind of scouting people out for that, so it's been good. We're still trying to figure out like our whole process, but we haven't had to thrift as much, which has been awesome, because if you guys didn't know, we have to drive pretty far to get to a good sourcing location, so it's been awesome, but we're still working out the kinks on how to process all of it. And we'll be processing probably like 500 items today, so it'll be good. And processing a spreadsheet to get like 200 more items. So.
Yeah, it's been a lot, but honestly, it's also kind of relaxing because I can. It's like online sourcing, but not online sourcing in a way.
Yeah, and you met some cool people.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun interacting with everybody. I've met some really cool people, and I wish they were closer because I would love to go hang out with them, but they're not closer. So. But I do get to talk to them almost every week, which has been really nice. I've been doing some like Zoom meetings and Google Meets and stuff like that with people, which has been really cool. Get a chance to know people a little bit, give them a chance to know me a little bit. Hopefully they feel the same about meeting me as I do about them. But anyways, you ready?
All right, yeah, we went on a tangent. Sorry.
As a reminder, the chat is behind. So we've already been just having this discussion. There's probably like 60 comments to read through, whether they're comments or questions or whatever. I do not read every single comment out loud. That doesn't mean I'm not reading it in my head. If I feel like it's something we should comment on or answer on, I'll answer your questions. It does help if you like put question or like emojis to draw attention to it, just because I'm quick scrolling to keep us going. But if you think I've skipped your question, check the order and make sure that I haven't skipped it. If I have, please just drop it again. Sometimes I do miss them. I am human, so don't get upset.
Speed round. We're getting off at 11:30.
All right, ready? Let's do it. I almost read your comment as the first one. We've missed you guys. Glad some of you guys can come back on the replay later if you're missing it. Some people said they're drafting and ready to listen. Good morning, South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisville. Would love to know your opinion on the conveyor belt at our Goodwill bins.
Somebody mentioned that during a previous live. I have not seen like video footage of it. If you guys want to like send me that on Instagram messages or via email, we could even like react to a video of it. But to be honest with you, I haven't seen it, so I can't react. I want to see it, but if you guys want to send us a video of it, that'd be cool.
We should take a trip.
Allow us to get through it. Yeah, I would love to go to Louisville and would love to go to Louisville and thrift, because I thrifted very like briefly there and it was pretty good. My understanding is that a conveyor belt brings the new items out. I personally think that's kind of cool. I know it's probably replacing some jobs, but honestly, kind of a cool idea. I think the person that talked about it, I might be getting this scrambled, but I thought that they said that there was less time to dig per bin, and that was a concern. But if you guys are there and you want to take a video of it, or if you already have like a link to a video of it, it'd be really cool if you guys send us that. We could even react to it, because I want to see it.
Yeah, me too. Michelle wants to know what projects we're doing. We have one that we've been working on. We're not gonna share, I guess, yet. She said on another video. I don't know what video that is, unless it's the Reseller podcast or something later.
Just probably a
whole
separate
video.
A whole video, yeah.
But we have been working on some projects, mostly just like organizational stuff. That's about the only info I'm gonna give you right now.
Some people had some really good guesses. That's all I'll say.
Good morning from Montana, Colorado, California, Wyoming, Louisiana, Michigan, Illinois. Currently sourcing. Happy Money Making Monday. We
Heck
missed
yeah.
you. I missed you too. Georgia. Question. Backpack Baby wants to know, do you steam out wrinkles before taking pictures? Thank you. Yes. That's actually what our girls are doing right now. I can hear the steamer going. Mostly like linen and really only the items that need it, but yes, we do.
These poor girls have to steam a lot more during this season because we pick up a lot of linen.
Missouri, San Diego.
Let me ask you guys a question. So Nikki and I are trying to find a way that when we bring in inventory, currently we're bringing it in and dumping it in bins and then labeling the date we bring it in. Sometimes that stuff doesn't get touched for a couple of weeks. I cannot see us changing the bins system. They're gonna go in bins. But as far as like trying to prevent wrinkles while they're sitting there, have you guys had any luck about that? I'm thinking just like trying to fold flat over each other as best as I can, but if anybody has some tips I haven't thought of, I would love to hear them. Again, within the bin system. You got ideas?
I was just thinking it'd be kind of interesting if we had like a rail, and instead of using bins, we just got those like old school like hanger on this side with a bunch of holes in it, and you lined them up and then just took the side down and had. But that'd be a lot of hanging.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't thought enough about it, clearly. We're just speedballing. Yeah, drop in the comments below if you have any suggestions on how to keep your items looking fresh until they're ready to go on the rack. We have talked about hanging them up in advance, and most times the girls do. They'll like hang for tomorrow, the day before. But sometimes it's still not enough.
Yeah.
And when we say bins, like we normally have like 30 bins of clothing at any time ready to go. So it's a lot of stuff. Okay, question, please. On Poshmark, when you send an offer to likers, do you have to do discounted shipping in addition to the offer itself? Is there a way around it? Thanks so much. That's from Shannon.
You do have to send some type of discounted shipping. I always choose the one that's the least cost to me, but it's also the smallest discount to the buyer. But yes, when you send an offer to likers on Poshmark, you do have to include a shipping discount, which, you know, Poshmark, if you're listening, is stupid, by the way. But the only workaround that I know of is I've heard you can add things to bundles and then offer through a bundle, which I have not intentionally done this in the past, but when someone sends you an offer in a bundle and you counter offer, you don't have to include a shipping discount. As far as, you know, you've already sent them an offer to Watcher, then you try to bring it into a bundle. It seems to me like sometimes Poshmark already picks up on the offer that's already there. So if you're someone like me who uses Posture VA to automatically send out offers, you know, by the time 5 minutes have gone by, because that's what I have it set to, 5 minutes after somebody likes something, they've already been sent an offer to Watcher with that discounted ship. So if I were to try and switch over to a bundle, it seems like Poshmark recognizes that there's already an offer there. That's been my experience anyway. So I think as far as a workaround goes, you could add an item to a bundle, then offer a discount through there if you've not already sent an offer. But it's like at that point, you've spent so much time doing all of this stuff, you might as well have just offered the discounted shipping in the first place, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a topic for Friday.
The podcast? Okay.
Hello from Maine. It has been so long, you're right. North Carolina. Lindsay, I believe you're the one from Louisville. She says it would be cool to hang out with us. So if we ever come to Louisville for the bins and the conveyor belt, maybe we'll let you know. so that you can walk us through how it works, because I do not want to be the person at the bins with no freaking clue what's going
With
on.
a conveyor belt
Yeah,
there.
like walking and be like,
Do I
what is
sit
this?
on this? Like,
Yeah.
do I go with the bin?
I
What
would
do
just
do?
climb on it and lay down. Just so we left. Oh shoot.
New York.
It's such an honor to catch you guys live. Can you talk about how you pay Nikki? Is it a percentage? Oh, I'm a unicorn. It seems amazing to have an amazing employee, a unicorn.
That's not Lynn, is it?
It is not. Christy.
Let me
I'm gonna
just
let you
say.
address that.
Okay, let me just say that I get questions all the time about Nikki, how to find a Nikki, how to get a Nikki.
I am out for loan. If you pay me more than Cayley pays me, I will come visit you.
How to train someone to be a Nikki, how to do all these things. So yes, she is fantastic. She is a rare gem. There are not a lot of people who
I
have
feel very uncomfortable.
the kind of who have cover your ears. There are not a lot of people who have the kind of drive that Nikki does, and that is not just true for like this situation, but like really, because you know we've both been involved in hiring for a long time. There is not a lot of people who have the kind of drive that Nikki has, or the self-motivation, or the self-starter, or somebody that values themselves enough to do a good job. People just don't care. And Nikki cares a lot. So yes, I have a rare gem. I cannot tell you how to find one other than extensive interviewing, because Nikki and I have known each other since middle school.
A long time.
Yes, we worked together at the same company for a long time, in the same positions at one point, and different positions at other points, and we already knew each other's work style, which is the reason I felt comfortable coming to her and trying to ask her to come on board, and probably the reason that she felt comfortable with, you know, some reservations obviously, but felt comfortable coming on board with me when she's never, you know, worked in my business before. So we had a relationship beforehand. We've worked together before. It made it super easy. But in previous positions, I always tried to find whoever was replacing me, or if I had to, you know, pick someone to be the leader of a department or whatever, I always like cultivated those relationships and usually had somebody in mind already to kind of work them up to that. So it's a lot of relationships. It's a lot of feeling people out. If you're somebody who doesn't already have those relationships, it's a lot of interviewing. I mean, you can't know someone off of just like, even if you do like a 3-step interview, you're never going to know. You're going to go through a lot of frogs before you find the prince. So I would say be very stringent in your hiring process, and be okay with taking your time to find the right person instead of just hiring somebody to have a body. As far as how I pay Nikki, I will never share specific pay details. They are private for a reason. I don't think it would be fair to Nikki, myself, or any of my employees to share that information. But I will tell you that Nikki is paid salary. She is not hourly. She, as much or as little as she works, she gets paid the same amount every week. Usually she works more than a 40-hour week, despite telling her to go home all the time.
Just 40 hours.
She comes in early and she usually stays late. So I pay her salary. Honestly, I probably would not, had I not known Nikki already, I would not have hired her salary. I would have paid her hourly, because I wouldn't have known about her work ethic had I not already known her. But she does get paid salary. If you're someone trying to find a Nikki, I would suggest hourly. And she gets paid, you know, I think a pretty good amount for what she does. But if you're trying to incentivize, you know, the right person to come on board, you do have to pay them an incentivizing wage to get the kind of work that you want out of them. If you're only offering, you know, minimum wage or less than what other companies pay, or even sometimes the same as what other companies pay, why do they have an incentive to work for you? And it's not just pay, it's benefits, it's flexibility, it's like all of that. But I can't directly answer your question, but I hope I answered it enough. Did I miss any part of that? Okay.
No. I will tell you guys, Cayley says nice things about me, but I'll also tell you that I'm a lot to put up with. So I know, like, you guys catch the good part of me most of the time, and I'm, like, very well, I guess, generally, very well sustained when it comes to lives. I've got time and I process things, and I'm very limited on what you get. I think you guys get more of the real me if you watch the Reseller podcast, and even that is still limited because I can't say the words I want to say on there. Although I think I've slipped up a couple lately. I need to be more careful. But I will tell you, I'm a lot to put up with. So, like, I will work hard and I can be motivated. And I am like a task driven kind of person, but I also get really moody. And I can be a lot to put up with when it comes to being moody. So, as much enjoyment as you get out of like the positive side of me, imagine the negative side of me. And Cayley gets that sometimes. And sometimes I go home and feel bad for her because if I'm just not having the day, then you just don't. I'm the polar opposite. So
At the end of the day, no one is perfect, and you can't expect to hire anyone that's perfect. You have to take the good with the bad, and
there's a lot of bad.
I say we both have very strong personalities, and is good. I'm talking for myself. I'm not going to talk for her because she's fantastic, but she, as much good as you get some out of people, there's going to be things you got to work with too. So while you're hiring, maybe keep that in mind. You're never going to find somebody perfect. So we're all human. But the great thing about Nikki, and I feel like me too, maybe I'll speak for myself a little bit, but is that even when we do make mistakes, we try to constantly self-evaluate and be better in the future. So find yourself a Nikki is what I'm saying.
I'm getting old. I'm tiring out, getting old and tiring out. The older I get, I think the chiller I get. So, people say they like to watch the podcast because they like to watch my expressions when I'm talking about people. I'm a very expression based person.
Sometimes
it's great, but it's also not great because sometimes we're like in a store somewhere and I'm just like, are you freaking? You can just see it. Like brewing.
Sometimes I'll try to zoom in for a moment whenever you're having a moment because I know that they're looking for that. It's funny. It's good stuff.
It's something.
It's always interesting around here.
Attire and beyond. Cayley and I do have a very strategic wage and raise and bonus potential. I'm not going to go into all that because again, I don't think that it's like super relevant, but we do have a raise and bonus potential opportunity for our girls, and we think that like helps motivate them. We do like evaluations with the girls every quarter, and there's certain goals that we give them, and if they meet those goals, then they get a raise or bonus depending on what that looks like. There's different parameters for each one.
They're always performance driven.
Yes. But yes, when Cayley adds more to my plate, she generally does give me a raise. I think that was your question. I'm trying to work on getting my ASP up. In turn, I'm leaving so much more behind. I'd love to have bundles show up.
Yeah.
Yes, it's convenient. Hey ladies, what kind of phones do you use? Is there a video on how to comp in your phone that you've already made? I think somebody shared that. Yes. Joyce Vintage looks like she linked a video for you.
There's not many differences between, there are a lot of differences between Android and iPhone, but when it comes to like a specific app, there might be slight differences, but it's still the same process. You're still looking for a filter. So whatever that looks like for you, just look for the filter options and then you can drill down from there.
Also, don't think it matters what kind of phone you have as far as like parameters, but if you're just asking for like what we use for photos and stuff too, we do use Samsung phones. They're all a little bit different. I think we've got some 10s, maybe some 11s.
They're older.
Mine's like a 22, 23, I don't know. But Cayley and I have newer ones for like personal, but as far as like the office, we just bought older ones used off of eBay and they are on no plan and we just use those here. And the search results are the same regardless. I've never tried it on iPhone because I'm not an iPhone person, but I'm assuming the results would be very similar.
Yeah. I love Samsung. I know that iPhone does give some really high quality pictures, but I would ask, is it worth getting an iPhone just to have slightly better quality pictures? Probably not. I personally choose to save the money myself.
Mandy wants to know, where do you find your excuse me, your return percentage? Was it under performance?
Yes. So if you go to your Seller Hub and you hover the performance tab, then you can go to, what was it, seller performance? Your seller level.
Did
Yep.
you hear that? We timed that perfectly.
And then it'll tell you everything about you as a seller and how you compare to your peers. Ours is pretty high right now. I've never had it this high
Yeah.
before. It makes me slightly nervous, but
We've had a lot of returns lately, and I've heard that that's not just us. There's a lot of
No.
people. So,
and they're like, I'm not gonna say none of them were our fault, but like most of them did not fit. Like it seems like people are using things as a fitting room. But I will say I definitely see more sales by offering returns than the deficit I'm getting of bringing, returns back. So I know somebody's going to ask this, but like having returns, in my opinion, for my business has always given me more sales than the negatives of getting returns.
good morning from Denver in Arizona. Somebody suggested picking up a t-shirt folder. And it's like a flat little foldy thing that folds stuff really precisely and prevents wrinkles, and they're really fast.
Yeah, I know what those are, but can you imagine trying to fold 355 items into a tote every single week just for them to be unfolded and put on a hanger? Like, I can't imagine doing that.
Oh, Alicia does, because she says that every time she watches you throw them back in the bin during a thrift haul, you give her anxiety.
Oh,
with a bunch of crying emojis.
Yeah, I think I need to do something, but I don't know that I could commit to doing that. That'd be a lot of work.
It would be, but I
Good
think
on
it
you
would be,
for doing it though.
It would be beneficial. Hello from Iowa. I will get some footage of the conveyor belt and send it to your Instagram. I love it and couldn't imagine digging through a bin again, but not sure it's fair to others.
Yeah, send us some footage and let us know a little bit about how that works.
I have a question in regards to taking pictures of striped clothing. How do you avoid the moire effect that creates different unwanted patterns in the photos?
I don't think that you can avoid it when you are taking a backed up photo, but you could make your cover photo a more up close photo to combat that, so that your buyers will click into the listing and know that it's the stripe pattern that they're looking for, and then maybe after they click into it, then they can see the back photos. Like they're gonna understand, I guess, better. But can you avoid it? Like, I really don't think that you can. Thoughts?
No, I would say, I know sometimes depending on the color, you can tap around the frame of the item to try to adjust the lighting just right. But I know sometimes it's still there. I think Cayley's right. Like, I normally would just include a close up of the item and then maybe put the description that it's like blue and white striped or black and white striped or whatever to narrow it down a little bit. I have a question in regards. Oh, just kidding. Same question. What would you do if you got a negative feedback and they lied and said that they didn't get the right shorts? I'm very new and I don't need the negative comments.
Well, I guess I would ask, is it just a feedback or did they open up a case on you? Because you can, first I would say, did I actually send them the right thing? Like, we always try to do the right thing and go, because you can get frustrated sometimes, but sometimes you also need to step back and go, okay, was this me? And there have been times where I've gotten mad and jumped the gun and then research into it and I was like, oh crap, that was me. Like, so I would say, especially as a newer reseller, not to jump the gun and go, okay, did I send them the wrong item? What you can do for there is, if they haven't created a case, you can contact the buyer and just say, hey, I saw your feedback. I see that you said that you received the wrong item. Can you send me some pictures so I can try to figure out what's going on and maybe send you the right item? And maybe from there you can get a little bit more info.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, as far as a scammer goes, there would be no reason or no benefit for someone to just come and put negative feedback on your profile if there wasn't an actual problem. So chances are they're probably going to open up a case, and if the shorts are incorrect, if they show shorts that you have, like, they're definitely trying to scam you is what I'm trying to say.
Owned.
Yeah, that you've never owned. All you can really do at that point is try to contact eBay and see what your options are. To be honest with you, you're, depending on the rep you get, you're going to get different results, but I would try to reach out to eBay at that point and say, this is what's going on, what can I do? And then if they haven't created a case, all they did was leave feedback. You can also attempt to contact eBay for Business on Facebook Messenger. I have the most luck with that when it comes to getting negative feedback removed. And you can just say, hey, this person left me negative feedback. I reached out to them. I offered a return. They didn't respond to me. Can I get this taken off my account? Because it seems like there's a mistake. I can't promise you they're going to do it, but it's worth the effort if you want to get that negative feedback taken off. At the end of the day, you're going to get negative feedback. I mean, we have, negative neutrals. They're very far and few in between. Some of them are bogus. Some of them are legitimate. But as long as your positive feedback far outweighs your negative or neutral feedback, you're going to be in good shape, and don't let it beat you down. Just focus on getting those positives moving forward.
Also, don't get petty.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm going to say. I think I get petty at first. I told you, I have my quirks, and that's it. As soon as something happens, I immediately get really mad about it. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding? And that's when I vent it out here and I handle it. And I'm like, okay, now I got to put my big girl panties on and I got to do the right thing. And I need to go to that customer and say, hey, I'm really sorry for whatever happened. Can you send me photos? What's the issue? I had one of these on Poshmark, last week, where they were this was, they gave us a 2 or 3 stars. Maybe it was a 3-star. And I think they said that, item was not as described. It said in the notes, this item is different than the one in the photo. And so I was immediately like, oh, crap. Did we send them the wrong item? What happened? So I messaged the buyer and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry that you're not satisfied with your purchase. I see that you said that this wasn't as described. This wasn't the shirt. Can you let me know? Can you send me a photo? What happened? What's different? What did you get? And she sent back and was like, well, I thought that this had, it was a V-neck top. She's like, I thought it was a wrap V-neck so that it came down the side. And I said, no. She's like, well, I thought it was more like your tie-dye top. I didn't remember it being like this, but it's in good condition and I'm going to use it. And I was like the eye twitch, where you're like, oh, are you freaking kidding? And I was like, great. I'm so glad you enjoy it. Thanks for your purchase. And it didn't change the rating, but I did what I could to make a difference. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's your fault and sometimes it's not. So let's see what else. Mandy says, so I'm a Nikki and I need a Cayley. How do I find that?
I don't know. We're both rare gems.
I didn't find her. She found me, so I have no tips.
Just wait. Cayley will find you.
Yeah. Just wait. It just shows up. You're happily working. Well, I wasn't happily. I was working at my other job, and she called me and was like, hey, you want to come talk to me about a job? And I was like, sure. Why not? And then I quit a week later.
I'm going to be honest about my personality type. I don't let a lot of people in, so... Yeah, I'm not sure how to find one of me. I'm probably hiding in a room somewhere.
You guys might not know this about Cayley. I'm kind of ratting her out to the world, but she's very antisocial. Not because she hates people or doesn't want to interact with people, but she's more of the observer than she is the communicator. So she kind of sits back and watches things happen. She doesn't miss anything. So if you think you can screw up and she won't catch it, no way. She finds it, she sees it. She might forget about it, but she sees it.
That's true.
But she's very very big into observations, and so she catches a lot of things, and she's able to kind of meddle. I don't want to say meddle because that sounds bad, but dig through all the different things that are going on and really meticulously process things. She's a thinker, and but she's not necessarily like social. So when she says like you might find her in a room somewhere by herself, she means it. She's probably that person that you find in like your Goodwill or wherever you source that's like going meticulously through items and like looking at them and like pulls a shirt off the shelf and like looks at the front and then spins it and looks at the back and then spins it and looks at the front and then lifts up the armpits and then like looks in the shirt. Like if you find somebody like that, that might be a Cayley.
Yeah, I always say I'm an introvert forced extrovert because people are like, how can you be socially awkward but you're on YouTube? It's trained, forced, and worked through, and I'm doing my best. I'm a lot better than I used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old employers took care of that. They broke us.
Yeah, we got broken.
Have you done a video on which eBay reports or stats are important to download, follow, or save for bookkeeping and taxes? I'm so overwhelmed. Yikes. Did you like that face?
I did.
I made that just for you. I followed the emoji.
So really the pages that I use, did they say eBay and Poshmark? For Poshmark,
They just said in general, but
Okay.
I'm assuming eBay. Oh, eBay reports. Just
Okay.
kidding. eBay.
so on Poshmark, it's really simple. You just download your sales report. On eBay, there's like multiple places that you can go to get information. The easiest method that I have is, and I do this for my what sold videos, is I just go to my performance tab. I select custom dates, and I'm doing it for week to week, but when I do my monthly bookkeeping, I do it for the month, and it will show you your gross sales amount, how many items you sold. It will show you, I think it might even show you your average sale price, but it'll break down what all of your fees were. And you can print that page, like just the web page, or you can actually download the report at the bottom, which I recommend doing. And that way you have each individual sale as well. But something that I did a lot when I was a newer reseller is I looked into every single sale. You don't need to do that for bookkeeping. You can not generalize, but get a bigger picture of information and do it less frequently than every single sale. So I would say go to your performance tab on eBay, filter down. I would suggest doing it month by month, unless you feel like you need a better grasp on it, then go week to week, and then pull the information from there. I personally use my own spreadsheet, but I'm really good with Excel. That is one thing I will give myself, is I'm really good with Excel. I know some people aren't. If you're not, you might want to consider getting a bookkeeper or using a software program that bookkeeps for you. But you can get all of that information from there, whether you're going to do it yourself or if you're going to give that information to a CPA, a bookkeeper, or your or a program. You're going to need to pull the same report, same information. So just go to your performance tab.
The BRB boutique says, I need a beep button.
The problem is, how would we catch it quick enough?
I'm pretty fast.
I have beeped you or silenced you a couple times in videos, but
Yeah.
for live, that would not.
No, it would not
I would
work.
not be ready.
No, I'd have to be like, oh, beep, at the same time. I just say, I'm gonna, or like, this person is a piece of, and then I just derail. I kind of beat myself.
My favorite is when she catches herself about to say a word, and then she goes, oh, and she's cussing because she almost cussed, and then she catches herself again, she's like, oh, and she like does it like 5 times. That's my favorite.
It was on that one where you pied me in the face.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, I said a bad word. And then like 2 seconds later, I say it again. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, okay, I've got to just video over. I'm done. I couldn't focus. To be fair, though, I was covered in whipped cream. I was a little distracted.
Yeah.
Welcome from Ohio. Hi. It was nice meeting you that day we met you. I haven't seen you since then, but it was nice. Mandy says her stuff is at 3.2%. Feels like I've been getting a return every day, and it's just been kind of disheartening. Thankfully, not item not as described.
Yeah.
Is anyone here affected by the new feature Posh had?
Are you talking about the promoted listings?
She didn't say.
I'll tell you what, I can't speak for everyone else. I have talked to a few of you on Instagram about your sales, but for us lately, our Posh sales have actually been better than our eBay sales. And Dusty Old Hat actually, I think it was him reached out to me about an eBay glitch recently. So there's like a lot of things going on, a lot of things behind the scenes. But you expect those things to happen, guys. Like,
Yeah.
which is why it's really hard for me. Like, I want to switch to just eBay only. I really do. But then we have weeks like this where eBay is just horrible, and then Poshmark pulls it through for several weeks, and then I'm like, oh, that's why I list on 2 platforms. So, I don't know. It's been rough, but I have actually not... Poshmark's actually been better for us, is what I was trying to say. So, I haven't noticed a dip in sales on there. Now, eBay, however, has been a little bit of a brat lately. Been slower.
People have been brats.
That's true.
That's what I want to talk about on Reseller Recovery. Is these insane people.
Yeah.
These that Banana Republic, I don't know if you ever sold it, but I literally, if you sent her a 15% offer, I might punch you right now.
I don't remember how that
people
ended.
like that.
I think I just deleted it and moved on because I was like, you're wasting like 20 minutes of my time and not even buying the item. Like,
no. Oh my, people have been vultures, and I'm ready to just find the 12 gauge and drop them from the sky because I can't. Dusty Old Hat. Our return percentage was at like 5.4% or something, which is high for us. Generally, it's under 5.
I think that's the highest it's been.
Yeah, we have had a lot of returns. That we had this one buy a bundle of what, like 20 items, and then returned all of them. But hear me out. Here it goes. Here it goes. It was not even that she returned a bunch of them. She just like used it as her own closet to just buy and return. Which, whatever. Who cares? Send it. It's fine. But she created a return and then shipped everything in one box. So there was no tracking on anything else. So eBay had one item marked as being returned, but nothing else is being returned. And then she put something in the box that she didn't even create a return for all. And it was just a pain in the butt to work through. Had she just done it right, I could have just hit like return, refund, whatever. But no, I had to physically go through and like dig everyone out of paid and then refund them all. And it was just a mess.
That was a mess. Yeah.
Lindsay says whenever we make it to Louisville, she will show us the conveyor belt and how to get a good spot and a few other hidden thrift stores.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Yes. Crazy Thrifter says returns are out of control in the last 30 days. Preach. There's been a lot. It sounds like there's multiple of us. Julie brings up a good point that says she would lay out multiple items flat, create like a stack, and then fold those in half and put them in the bin. Because I was thinking if you folded every single one in half, you're still going to have the fold marks. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea.
Fold them in half and then you just keep stacking. You'd have a center crease. But if you had like 10 and then folded them, you wouldn't have the center creases.
It's a really good idea.
I like it. We pay for return shipping. We do free returns.
Guys, you got about 15 minutes, so if you got questions, put them in now. Oh, the chat.
I moved it like that when you were talking. What do you do when you are going through clothes and you always have that person that will come in the opposite way? It makes me feisty. Or when someone comes up and reaches in front of you.
I would say I try, like, I do get irritated about things, but I try to tell myself,
it's
like...
It's always old people.
I try to tell myself, like, stay calm. I feel like I have grown a lot as a person and do my best to stay calm in situations, but that is one thing, you can ask Nikki, that is one thing that just sends me over the edge. And I think it's because people are so inconsiderate and rude. Like, you're like 3/4 of the way through the aisle going that direction and they'll come in. What do? I usually say something snarky, I'm not gonna lie. Or I huff and puff and I back my cart up, or I'm like, would you mind if I got out of the, like, I don't know. I politely say F you. That's what I do.
I don't. I'm a pretty big girl. I just take up the whole aisle and I'll just stand there. And then, like, some of them will get mad at me. Like, I'll just keep going through stuff and, like, I'll just switch, like, turn my back to the other aisle and start working on that side. And then they're like, and that's when I'm really like, I'm sorry. This is all I have left. I was trying to go through here. Like, I'll trade you spots, but you're going to have to back out.
Yeah.
But also asked Cayley like last week if it was illegal to hit somebody with your cart. I was a little salty.
Yeah.
But
I used to just let it go and back up, but the older I get, I don't know, it just really rubs me the wrong way. So, yeah, we try to stand our ground, or usually we'll say something, to be honest. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's super rude. It's one thing, like, I'm like, Lord,
I do kind of get it.
Jesus help me, because I don't want to be Christ-like right now, but I am trying.
I do kind of get it. And here's why.
Get them doing that?
Kind of. Here's why. Hear me out. Devil's advocate, okay?
I got steam coming out my
I
ears.
know, your forehead's getting a little twitchy. I can see the eyes starting to go. Thrift stores are filled with a lot of resellers now. It used to be that, like, generally, I'm not talking about now, I'm talking about generally before, when thrift stores really started up and coming, it was mostly people shopping for themselves.
Yeah.
And then there'd be, like, a couple resellers throughout the day. Now, we go into a store, and there might be 10 of us in the same store, right? So, imagine if in every single aisle there's a reseller, and in every single aisle they're trying to go down. Like, I've run into that recently where, like, I try to go down an aisle, and in every single aisle I try to go down, there's somebody in it.
That's true.
And I have to keep skipping. So, imagine being a customer who's legitimately, which most of these older people, I'm not being ageist here, I'm just saying, Wednesdays are senior days. There's a reason why they're crowded, okay? Those tend to be the ones. They know what they're shopping for. So, like, I don't know, they want an extra large shirt. If that's the aisle I'm in, they're not going to just go look at another aisle because they don't fit in the other aisle. That's the one aisle they want in.
That's true.
And I've noticed that I feel like that's why they go to that aisle. My problem is that they get rude and they get snarky and they get like you're inconveniencing them. And I get it where they're coming from because you're taking the aisle, but at the same time, like we're still shopping too. And honestly, if they were just nice to me and said like, excuse me, could I come through here?
Yeah.
Or can I switch you spots? Like, I'm cool with it. But it's the ones that are like rude and entitled that set me off. Yeah. But I can see where they're coming from to an extent.
I do get that. But I've run into that situation where I'm like, okay, I only have 2 aisles left in the store. And they're the only 2 aisles I have left. And there's people in them. But I will intentionally, if I know someone's coming this way, I will intentionally go the other way so that I can start going through as they're coming out.
Yep.
And that's what I don't get about people. Like, I get what you're saying, and I can relate to that. But, like, why when I'm about to leave the aisle do you pull your cart right there?
I don't know.
Like,
I just don't think they're very situationally aware.
Oh, they're aware. I am not sticking up for these people. This is one
I think you're being a little hard on these grannies. I don't think that they're all being intentionally hateful. Now,
what about the ones that run over Jordan's heels?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, a lot of them are, but
not all of them. Yeah,
you can't generalize everybody.
No,
look, it's just coming up here like, if I get my leg ran over one more time by Meemaw.
Or the one that stole my cart.
Oh my God, yeah. Some lady stole Jordan's cart the other day. That was really funny. And then like she kept going, ma'am, and she was beating cheeks out of there.
Yeah.
She got her cart back though.
It's not just thrift stores though. I get super irritated in my regular personal life when people are just so inconsiderate. And I think it's because I expect myself out of other people. Not that I can't be inconsiderate sometimes, but I do generally try my best to consider other people. Yeah. And even outside of that, like even at the grocery store, people do that crap to me, and I'm just like, what has happened to the world? Anyways, vent session over. What do? We stand our ground. That's what we do.
We are 49 minutes in, and we only have 50 likes, so please hit the like button. It makes me feel much better.
Most people are just dumb AF.
An acquaintance told me she has clothes to give me that she was planning to get rid of, including lots of designer. I think she intends to just give it away, but should I be prepared to offer money? I'm going to tell you this, Mayflower Threads. You want to set that standard before you ever meet on an item. Once you see the item and you realize the quality or the quantity of items, you're going to be more likely to sway to give that person more money than you necessarily want to. Try to set a percentage or like a dollar amount for items before you even go see the items. That's like my general rule of thumb. When we're doing wholesale, I always say, hey, I'm prepared to offer you X amount for each of these items. does this work for you or does it not? And then if there's like one-offs, then you guys can go over one-offs. But if it sounds like she's planning on giving it away, I would just clear the air. Like, hey, I need to stop at the ATM if you're expecting cash or whatever that looks like. Is there a dollar amount? Are you doing it for the whole lot? Is it for each item? Like, what does that look like? I need to financially prepare my business for this. What does that look like?
That's a good idea, saying, hey, like, are you just getting rid of these items, or do I need to stop at an ATM beforehand? That's a great segment. I just have to, okay, this is the last tangent I'm going to go on, but someone said you need to hire a cart guard to stand at the ends of the aisles. Have you guys ever seen, I actually don't like this channel, but there's a guy that's called like a cart narc, and he travels to like grocery stores, shopping plazas, whatever, and when people don't put their cart back, he like harasses them essentially, which I think he goes way too far. But yes, we need a cart narc, but for the thrift store. That'd be fantastic.
That would be funny. I love that guy.
I think he's kind of rude and takes it way too far.
But... I mean, I do think he takes it too far, but I also think that people are really lazy.
Yeah.
And if people just did the right thing, then it wouldn't be a problem. Like, I don't know, he's had some shady stuff happen to him, but like, at the same point, if you're going to get out of your car and chase somebody with a cart when you could just be a good human being and put it away, like, you are way too confrontational. But I did see some lady that, like, whose mom died that day, and she was just, like, picking up funeral stuff, and I felt bad about that, because he just kept pushing.
Yeah, I think the women feel harassed by him, which I was, like, putting myself, if some guy did, which I would never do what they did, but, like, if some guy was following me and I was trying to leave in my car, and I was by myself or had my kids, like, I would feel harassed. Like,
I would just hit the cart with my Jeep.
Yeah.
So, I would, totally would.
So, like, I think he takes it too far, but tangent, but I'm like,
if I was concerned, not saying I would do that, but I'm just saying, if I was like concerned that somebody like put a cart in front of my car and I was like concerned they were coming after me, I think I would just risk the scratches and just.
Maybe we should go to an area that we don't intend on sourcing at ever again, and one of us can play the cart narc one day at a thrift store, and I'll record it. See what people say.
I'll do it. I'll be the cart narc. I don't think that people will come try to fight me. It's fine. And even if they do, it's fine. I sold an item on eBay. It didn't get delivered to her apartment, but a pickup location. It says it's ready for pickup for over 5 days now. It also says reschedule redelivery or it will be sent back to me. I've reached out to her, but she hasn't responded. Not sure what to do. Have you ever had this happen?
We've had similar things happen. At the end of the day, it's probably going to get sent back to you. You're going to need to reach out to eBay, probably so you don't get charged for that shipping, because it's probably going to come back to you, but you're going to probably have to work out something with eBay so that they can refund you your money, and then you'll probably end up having to relist it.
I'm observing as well. It's frustrating when others not only don't have common sense to do the right things, but even when there's a literal sign I've written, they still do it. I love this because I learned so much from you, but love it even more because Cayley is me and Nikki is my best friend. Same exact personalities from what I can tell, and it definitely works. Is this live, and can I ask questions about Posh Life? Sure, this is live. You can ask questions.
You got about 7 more minutes.
What's your take on just some people always getting big number of viewers? Doesn't matter what they sell, and everyone else gets low viewers.
I'm not sure if you're talking about like on YouTube or if you're talking about items on like items that people list on eBay and Poshmark. I can give you my opinions on both. I actually watched.
We're talking about Posh shows.
Oh, Posh shows.
Yes, this is the same person. They said, "Can I ask questions about Posh lives?"
Oh, Posh
and it
lives.
says, "What's your take on some people always getting big number of viewers? Doesn't matter what they sell, but everyone else is getting low viewers."
It sounds like those people probably have a social media following, or they've developed a lot of followers just on Poshmark. What can you do about that? Really nothing except grow your own following. But to be honest, we're not on Posh Life shows. I have not looked into it a whole lot. So we might not be the best person to ask about that, but at the end of the day, compare yourself to yourself, not other people. And what works for them might not work for you. You might have to grow your following a different way.
Karina, we use a Jiffy steamer. It's fantastic. You should buy one.
They're expensive, but they last a long time.
Happy to see you guys again. What's your take? Oh, that's the same question. I received an offer of $4 for Gymshark shorts. Would you take that as an insult?
I try to not take anything as an insult. I try to be unoffendable, but at the end of the day, it's still activity on your account, so just counter offer and take it as a win.
I'm new to Poshmark. I'm finding people hit the like button a lot, but don't buy after you send them a good offer. Even sometimes free shipping. Is this generally the case, or is it just me?
It's not just you. As a newer reseller, a lot of times we analyze little things like that over and over again. As you grow as a reseller, you won't even look at the amount of likes you have, and you won't track every single offer you send. I think it can be pretty detrimental to track all of those things like at a minuscule level like that, because an item could have no likes and end up selling within 5 minutes. So to track all of those things might not actually matter. Whereas, an item could have 20 likes and never end up selling. Like, all of those things happen. You want to focus on you and being consistent in your business. And over time, all of those sales are going to come. But just something to keep in mind is what a lot of newer resellers do not understand, and what I didn't understand when I started, is that you think because you list an item, it should sell that week, when there's actually data proving that that is not true. So you have to come to an understanding of how long do these items that I'm listing actually take to sell on average. For us, the model we go with is about 90 days. And after 90 days, if an item's not selling, then I become concerned with it. But most of the time, you're picking up things that aren't going to sell in a week. Like, even if you're picking up a Patagonia, Chinchilla Aztec, like, it may take several months to sell, and you have to learn to be okay with that. The only way to be okay with it is to understand what's behind it.
Lisa, we do not have a video on tracking sales or data for bookkeeping. We keep saying we'll do one, but we haven't done one yet. Maybe eventually. I know we did previously talk about kind of what we keep earlier in this video, so if you want to scroll back, you can look at that. But as far as an actual video, we don't yet have a video on that yet.
Hire a CPA.
Yes. Somebody said during COVID they used to cough. I used to do that all the time during COVID. If somebody got in my eye, I'd be like,
get them out of the aisle. Yeah.
They'd go running.
Yeah.
It was great. Somebody wants to know if they can tag you in their live show on Posh.
I don't know how that works. For what purpose? What does that do for you and for me? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, because I don't know what that involves. I'm sorry.
Hello, ladies. Thank you for all you do. I happened to, on eBay, a lady purchased a dress, selected local pickup. She was in California. I'm in Houston. She did not pay shipping. Canceled sale. Is this normal? It sounds like, Josefina, you have local pickup turned on for your items. So I would definitely turn that off if you don't intend that off. I also don't know how she would have been able to select local pickup if she was in California and you're in Houston.
I think
they still
can, unfortunately. I think
crazy.
That's a pretty normal thing if you've got local pickup selected, because people will be like, well, I didn't realize, can you just ship it to me? But if you're planning on reselling, like, as a business or like a pretty serious hobby, I would not do local pickup. I would turn it off.
We do, Monique, sometimes source yard sales, not as often as what we would like. Most times they're on the weekends, and we typically don't work weekends. So we don't typically source them. We'd like to go to more, which maybe we will this summer, just because we're like actually sourced ahead, that we can afford to be a little bit riskier. I went to one not that long ago, and I ended up getting I don't know, probably like 30 items at a yard sale. It was another reseller that was like getting out of the game, who reached out to me, and it was pretty good. But no, we don't go as often as what we'd like to.
I'm jealous. Some of the yard sale and garage sale prices are like $1 an item. Like, crazy good return on investment. All right, guys, we are blasting through the rest of the questions. We are about to get off here. So if you guys do have anything else you want to chat about real quick, go ahead and put it in.
Somebody said you could try rolling the clothes before you put them in the bin, like rolling them up, because most times they're less wrinkled that way.
I think it'd be like kind of the same process as that other person was saying, where you lay them all flat in a stack first and then do it. That's a good idea. Thank you, guys.
Serena says sometimes, or my local thrift store organizes their clothes by color, not by size. What would you recommend to thrift fast?
I would first ask, do they have a tag of some sort that tracks which items are new and which items are old? So like, do they either have one of those little color tabs that comes out of the item, or a scannable one? And how can you determine what are the new items and what are not, and then only shop the new items so that you can still cherry pick? If those are not the case, then we still cherry pick. We just literally, instead of touching every item, we'll just walk through an aisle slowly and try to look for what looks like quality, and then we'll grab an item and look, but we're still not going through every single one. It's hard to do, but it is trainable to teach yourself to cherry pick. So those are my 2 suggestions.
I like it. Promoted listings. Do you know anything about how long the beta testing's going on for? You think that they're still just like testing it out, or you don't know yet?
It's still in beta testing. I don't know how long because I didn't opt in to try it. So I don't know how long it's going to be, but my understanding is that they're going to roll it out in phases. So once they're done beta testing, they will start rolling out to some Poshmark users, and then they'll do it in waves. I have absolutely no idea how long that's going to be. I probably won't use it. Good morning, everyone. We're about to get off of here.
Cayley, after how many years working as a seller did you move from 10 listings daily to 20 and so on? I learned so much for you. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Saw that question. I was kind of trying to ask how you would handle this event. I'm not sure what they're referring to.
It's their dusty old hat and Save by Thrift are talking.
Okay. As far as the question about how long it took me, first of all, I always get fuzzy about exact dates, but I will say I was a hobbyist reseller for a long time as I worked a full-time job, sometimes more than full-time job, and I was very hit or miss. Like, I did not set a goal for myself. It was just whenever I could and thought about it, I would do it. I did not go full-time until several years after that, meaning I invested like I had no other job. I just focused on full-time reselling. After that, I was still super intermittent. I did not have goals for myself. It wasn't until I challenged myself one week on a YouTube video to list 10 items a day for a week that I realized how much time I had been wasting and how doing that could make consistent sales. And from that moment forward, I tried to commit to consistent listing. As far as how long it took in between each interval, like moving from 10 a day to 20 a day to 30 a day, and then all the way up to 45, I honestly cannot tell you. I did not track that stuff, but what I will say is typically what we do before we increase is first we make sure that we are ahead of schedule. So we always try to be scheduled out a couple weeks ahead of time. If you're somebody that doesn't want to schedule, at least having, your drafts ready to go. I always suggest being ahead because you don't know what can happen. After that takes place, we try to look for, our last goal was listing 40 a day. So we were trying to wait and see when we would get to the point of selling 40 a day before we would bump up. So we came really, really close. I think our average was like selling 37 or 38 on average a day. And once we got really close to that 40, we said, okay, we have an opportunity where we can bump it up again. But we usually only go in 5 intervals of 5, which it seems relatively small, but when you're doing that every day, it's a big jump. And I even recommend for someone doing it solo, probably doing bump it up by 2.
Yeah, it's a lot. It doesn't seem like it, but you also don't want to bump up and then not be able to maintain it either. Yeah. And then lose whatever momentum you're trying to create.
Yeah, I would say first try to focus on optimizing with whatever your listing goal is right now. Let's say it's 5 a day. Completely try to optimize that first, figure out how long it takes you to do each thing, make sure that your processes are set in place as efficient as they possibly can be before you start increasing. And then once you're ready, wait until you start to sell about as much as you're listing every day before you bump up is my suggestion, and then do it again, then wait again until you hit that mark again. And that seems to be working really well for us.
We do not end listings and relist. They just auto enroll every single month. But we don't do the like relisting feature. We just, listings should be good enough for us. We let them be what they are. As far as tips for turning your reselling into an actual business, do you have to open a business bank account, set up a sole proprietor? What's the best plan of action?
Really depends on your situation, but I would suggest, so you don't have to set up anything to be a sole proprietor, but I would suggest probably starting with if you plan on doing this for a long time, I would personally suggest setting up an LLC from the get-go, because I can tell you from personal experience that trying to set it up after you've established business can be a lot harder. Totally doable, but if you're like, yes, this is what I'm doing, I would start with an LLC and move from there. But you can start with a sole proprietorship. Just from the get-go. An LLC is pretty much the same thing as a sole proprietorship, except it offers a little bit of extra coverage. But that, if I were to start over again, I would start with an LLC, knowing that I was going to grow it and move forward.
Last question. Make sure you guys hit the likes buttons before you guys get off, okay? I wanted to see us at 100. We're close. We're not there,
88.
but we're close, okay? Dustfield Hat wants to know, is it Taco Monday today for you?
It's not. I was a good girl today and brought my lunch.
What did you pack for your lunch?
I brought a sandwich with sourdough bread, turkey, lettuce, tomato, and mayo, and some pretzels and a yogurt. I'll probably only eat the sandwich, but no, I brought stuff.
Turkey.
Yeah, I like turkey.
A turkey sandwich.
I like turkey.
I was a good girl and I packed my lunch today too. I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks, so I have been scrimping and saving every single dollar I could just so that I could have extra spending money. Oh, 101, this is great. I packed some chicken casserole I made last night for dinner. It's leftovers. It was very good. My husband cooked. It was top notch. I don't know what else I packed.
We're trying to both be good and pack. We're not.
I packed some sliced cheese.
Yeah.
Like Colby Jack chunk cheese. I really like cheese. And what else did I put in my lunch?
I don't know, but tacos sound really good.
I know. Did you know that our favorite taco place has $2 margaritas on Tuesday nights?
No.
$18 pitchers. I'm gonna get me a pitcher tomorrow night. You
Sounds
wait.
good.
When I'm not functional Wednesday morning, you know why?
We're sourcing separately on Wednesday, so that's
Ooh,
fine.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all. I look forward to next time. I wrote down my questions, but lose them. I'll start my new list.
All
right. Thanks for getting us to over 100. Wow, that was
111.
great. All right, everybody give me the heart emojis.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.